Yo, what is going on, homies? It's your boy Stump back for another Optc video, and in today's video, we're talking about treasure map versus Kid, and the teams that I'll be using to take down this particular treasure map for a very, very high point boosted rate. Now, there has been a lot of controversy around this treasure map, unfortunately, just because of the way things were structured, and there's a lot of boosted units that actually aren't boosted. Now, for a whale or like a pay-to-play player, it's not the end of the world, but for the free-to-play players, like, it actually annoys the hell out of me so goddamn much. But what does this kid do and why are we farming him? His special does 100 times his attack in strength damage to one enemy, changes crews TND, recovery, and bomb, and unfavorable slots to character's own type. And when the special is launched, if you have bind, he doubles the crew's attack. If you have despair, he's a slot booster for 1.75. And if you have paralysis, he's a color affinity booster. So ideally, if you have all of these debuffs, you can actually get all of the buffs. He does have hunger removal as well, which is very, very handy for a treasure map unit. Captain ability reduces special rest by 2 turns, which is pretty good, and just a base 3.75 to strength is actually pretty strong. He gives base stats to strength as a crewmate, and he removes special bond on himself for 5 turns. That's odd. Why does he do that? Okay, well, it is what it is. His supports are just stat boosters, and in Rumble, he boosts strength units, which kind of sucks because strength aren't overly great in Rumble. But on a 28 CT, he does attack down level 5, which is actually pretty good, and level 5 speed down, which is pretty good as well. So he's actually pretty good in Rumble, pretty decent Rumble unit. He's a fighter and a driven unit. Driven are pretty good in Rumble as well. So let's have a look at the teams now. The boosted list, we do have the Luffy. I did actually manage to pick up the Luffy. If you guys didn't check out my summons, I will leave a card at the top of the video. Unfortunately, we didn't get Old Man Hero, who I want so goddamn much. We pulled Donbon like 1,000 times. Fortunately, we pulled another Big Mom Kato off screen as well, but it is what it is. The 5 times boosters is basically the new batch, the free-to-play page 1, the Rumble units, the limited rare recruit Kazuna, Sengoku, the free-to-play arena Kamazo, Jinbei from the last treasure map, Nami and Shinobi. If you haven't finished them, make sure to find them up. Kid, I haven't decided where I'm going to put Kid yet. I will find a spot for him on the team, but for the minute, I haven't. The free-to-play Otama and the free-to-play Kizuna, Sakazuki, and Borsalino. The rest of them are 1.2 times boosters, and as you can see, the boosted list isn't overly large. There are a bunch of 1.1 times boosters, which are a bit annoying. Like this Dogstorm and the Carrot down there just pissed me the hell off, and the fact that Kid, Buggy, and Boa aren't on this list is just... it's actually an atrocity, but look, it is what it is. So let's focus on Chopper for the first fight. Chopper is a int unit, and he is the easiest of the bosses. He does turn from a quick into an int unit. That is his gimmick. He does 2 turns of crewmate special blind, and he has delay immunity. So the whole thing is you just want to be able to get around special blind, and if you are using this Borsalino and Sakazuki, you can actually use their switch ability, both of your captains, to switch, and that way you can actually remove the special blind easy peasy. You can bring the free-to-play Usopp. He's very, very good as well to remove special blind as a crewmate, but with this particular team, because we want to maximize our points at a 1.35 times booster for both our captain and our friend captain, we do want to try and bring driven and slashy units. So this whole team, besides the Frankie, who's literally just a placeholder, you could literally put anyone you want on this particular team besides Frankie, and this team's going to give you guys quite a lot of points. The Frankie's the Pirate Rumble Frankie. Again, like if you don't have him, don't worry, literally just put anyone you want. We do have Germa on this team, as they are a driven unit, which is great. They are going to become our captain, which basically makes this whole team function very, very well on the final stage. They're basically just going to blow away Chopper very, very easily without any issues whatsoever. We have Zoro on this team. Zoro can just give us orb boost. He can also be like a stage clearer, as he does 20 times his attack to all enemies, ignoring all defensive effects, which is pretty good. If you have like the super type Luffy, you can use him as a wave clear as well. And then we've just got Queen on here for more points as well. Fairly straightforward. Chopper's not overly hard. As long as you can get around the special bind, that's the easiest way to go, as he is the easiest of the mini bosses. Moving on to Old Man Hero now. He is the second of the mini bosses and the second easiest, I guess. The recommended characters, hang on one second. The recommended characters for this particular fight is actually Jinbei. Now, I have no idea why Jinbei is actually a recommended character for this fight. Once you get to the final stage, Hio is going to turn into either a Dex or an Int unit, and then he gives 5 turns of Despair, which is obviously going to go down to 2 with Sockets. So with this particular team, we are using Jinbei as our captain. He's a 1.35 times booster, but he literally doesn't... like, he doesn't hold any purpose whatsoever. But he is a very good captain. 3.5 to strength, psi, and int characters, and removes despair by 1 turn. So literally just using... Okay, that's probably why they say to use him. If you just use 2 Jinbeis as captains, you can actually just remove the despair easy peasy. The rest of this team we've just filled out with high point boosters. We have the Otama on this particular team. She can give us color affinity as well, but she's literally just here just in case he turns into a... sorry, she's just here because she's a good point booster. We have the... X-Drake on this team. He can also remove despair. He's another very, very good option for you guys. He's also going to give you tap timing bonus, and he does adjacent orbs, so ideally we want to do that. This Nami is another really good way to get around despair. She removed 2 turns of it. This whole team is literally just built up of color affinity boosters, but I just wanted to show you guys that there are some other options to get around the despair. Then we've got the limited rare recruit, just Sengoku. He's going to be our orb booster. Now, ideally, I'm actually going to change some of these units, mainly because... we actually don't really need them too much. So let's have a look and let's see if we can find some other wave clearers on this particular fight. So who can do a very good wave clear mechanic? That's ideally a fighter or a cerebral unit. This Luffy can be great. I think he does like a... Yeah, so he can be a wave clearer for us if we can get our specials low enough. We could even do something like this. We could use the... not the Gello. I mean, we could use the Magello, but we're going to use the host ship to get some more cooldowns. We really want the Atama on the team, as she can give... she just gives a hell of a lot more points, to be honest. That's the big reason that she's here. And then Page 1 is another really good unit, as he can give us a lot of points as well. And he does tap timing, so we'll leave him there for the minute. But this team should work fairly well. If the Hio does turn into an int unit, this team is just going to absolutely clap. You could easily use a support on Luffy as well. That way you could V1 Rayleigh to remove the despair, and you are basically good to go. On to the next team now. We come up against Okiku. Okiku is a strength unit who actually turns into a psi unit on the final stage. Now, this is where things get freaking annoying, as Kid is a recommended character, but he's not actually boosted on this goddamn treasure map, and if you can see Pudding there, she's actually a 1.1 times booster, so very, very annoying, but look, it is what it is. Kid's amazing for this. He removes the defense up, he can do end of turn damage, so he gets around resilience, and he rolls specials forward. So, I mean, if you're really struggling, put Kid on a team somewhere, but I have put together a team that is completely point boosted. So, we are using Big Mom as our captain. Big Mom's great. You can use Big Mom and Kaido in this particular fight as well. So utilizing Big Mom works very, very well. You can bring a friend if you need to, and then just bring another powerhouse captain. We have Neptune on this particular team, as he's a powerhouse unit as well. He can remove the threshold and the resilience, and he's also going to be a orb booster. However, we're going to be using the Big Mom orb boost anyway, but that is another option for you guys. We are using King on this particular team as well. King can actually remove powerhouse characters by 2 turns, so he's going to roll the specials forward for us. Other than that, that's basically all he's there for. I'm very happy I pulled him on the treasure map Sugo as well, finally. We have Luffy Sanji on this team, literally just because, and Bonnie we have on this particular team to remove the defense up. Now, I don't know how big that defense up is. Neptune can actually greatly lower the defense, so if that's enough, I will probably replace Bonnie with someone else, preferably someone that can just do a bunch of wave clearing in the early stages. I think that's probably why I've got Luffy Sanji here. I'm probably just going to use them to just, do they even do damage? No, they don't. Okay, I'm a spoon. You could easily use them as captain and then bring a friend, Big Mom, if you guys have them as captain. But this team should work for a very long time. I don't see it having very many issues. And gets around all the defects quite nicely, even though we have these 2 freaking annoying point recommended characters that actually aren't point boosters. On to the next team now. We are coming up against Kamazo. Kamazo is a dex unit who turns into a psi unit. And for some reason, Halloween Shanks is recommended here. I haven't figured that out yet, but it is what it is. On the final stage, he turns all of our slots into strength, dex, and quick. We get 5 turns of paralysis, and he binds our top row for 5 turns. Now, the bind will go down to 2 turns with sockets, but the paralysis won't. So we do need a way to get around the bind on our top units, and utilizing Nami and Shinobu is actually very, very good. Now, I'm using Nami and Shinobu as my captain. You could easily do something like this and then bring a friend, Nami and Shinobu. That way, Halloween Mihawk is actually going to remove the paralysis for you. But just to make life easier, I am just going to be putting Nami Shinobu as my captain. I don't really see it being too difficult, but once it does start to get a little bit tricky, I will be doing something like that. We do have Law for an orb boost. We have Mihawk for the attack boost. Nami and Shinobu is great because she can rotate orbs for us. as well as remove Bind and Despair and get the carryover of the color affinity boost. But we do have the Tontanas on this particular team. Again, Tontanas are like that Frankie in the first team. They're literally replaceable with whoever you want. But for me, I'm using them to remove the Despair, and that way I can actually just put Nami Shinobu as my captain, and I don't really have to worry about getting them binded. With that, we do have Croc down here as well. Croc can remove the paralysis as well. But like I said, if you guys have Mihawk, you can easily just run Mihawk as your captain, and you can just not worry about the paralysis whatsoever. Then maybe bring a friend Nami Shinobu just so you can get a little bit more points that way. But that should work fine. I don't really see you having too many issues, but we will see in the initial run as well. So moving on to the final boss now, we come up against Kid. Now, Kid actually turns into a dex unit. He is a strength unit, but he does turn into a dex unit at the end, and obviously the point boosters are the ones that you do want to bring, as well as a friend Kaido. So we are going to get our slots turned to block slots, and then we get 4 turns of burn and 4 turns of damage reduction on Kid. Then on stage 5, we're going to get another lot of block slots. We're going to get 5 turns of attack down and 3 turns of chain growth multiplier at 0.01. Now, the chain multiplier growth is really not that big of a deal. You can just bring a chain locker to get around that. Should work fairly fine. But with my team, I am obviously using Kaido as my captain. Kaido's not going to have any issues whatsoever with this content. He's actually just going to tear through it very, very quickly. We do get a lot of cooldowns with Kaido as well. Now, I do have Luffy here. Luffy is going to be basically just the color affinity booster for this particular team. I don't think was there bind removal? Do we need bind removal for this team? No, we don't. So Luffy's just here for color affinity, but what I'm actually doing is, as I'll be bringing a friend Luffy to try and maximize my points, I'm actually using the Brûlé support on Luffy to actually get block orbs. Now, if you don't have Brûlé support, don't stress. You can just bring another friend Kaido and just pop their specials on turn 4 and turn 5 and then remove the block orbs that way. It should work fairly fine. Next, we've got Donbon. Is that his name? Yeah, Dobon. He does a 2.75 times chain multiplier, as well as removing the chain chain coefficient reduction. Basically, if you don't have this guy, if you didn't summon, just put a chain locker on the team. Like, that'll get around the content fairly easily. Next, we've got Kamazo. Kamazo is actually really, really good for this content, as he's going to not only remove the burn, but he removes the damage reduction, which is great for stage 4. He's then going to double our slot effects as well for 2 turns, or 2.25 times otherwise. With him and then the Luffy special getting the 3 turns of color affinity, we can easily just blow through stage 4. I can't really remember who actually we verse on stage 4, but we do verse someone. The final unit on this team is Jack. Jack can remove attack down by 5 turns. If you guys don't have Jack, just basically replace him with another attack down remover. I think off the top of my head, someone like PvP Usopp would work very, very well. I'd have to double check that. But if you can find someone, let's have a quick look for you guys. So you could use someone like this Pedro. He removes 4 turns of attack down. Unfortunately, it's only 4 turns. You can use this Usopp. He removes 5 turns of attack down, which is very, very good. He's another character that can actually roll specials forward, so he could actually work very, very well against the Big Mom stage, or the Big Mom team. Other than that, we do have the Mistems from the last treasure map, but, I mean, a lot of you probably don't have him. He does lock slots too, though, which is pretty cool, but he's only a 1.2 times booster, so it is what it is. Other supports that you could use for Dobon instead, basically, like I said, anyone that can anyone that can give you a chain lock will work incredibly well. And chain lockers for this, you could easily just use Dofi and Treble. They could work very, very well. Or even someone like, unfortunately, the rest of them are 1.1 times boosters, which sucks. So if you decided to have Dofi and Treble, probably the way to go there. They're free to play as well, which is very, very handy. So that team is going to work very, very well. We do get a lot of points, as you guys can see, and ideally I'm going to be bringing a friend Luffy. That way I can just maximize my points. The final team we're going to talk about is against Intrusion Raizo. So Raizo is going to turn into a Psy unit, and he gives strength and in-character special reduction by 10 turns. So you ideally want to build the whole team out with int and strength units. On stage 2, we get a full board of recovery and T&D orbs, which is very, very good for Kaido and Big Mom. We're going to get bind on our top row, remove sound effects, and 5 turns of special bind, so you can easily remove all of that with Jack and King. The new rare recruits obviously work very, very well. Stage 3, you are going to, again, get recovery and T&D slots. We're going to get 3 turns of chain lock, which is a little bit trickier to get around. There's a 2 perfect barrier, and there's 5 turns of threshold. So the interrupt is actually fairly tricky to get around, but with this particular team I put together, it doesn't really have that much of a difficulty. So we are utilizing King here. He's going to remove sound effects and the special bind, but ideally you really just want to use a character that can get around special bind. That's the big thing with this particular fight. You don't have to worry about the remove sound effects too much. It is nice getting around that, But you really just want to make sure you can get around special bind. Now, looking at the boosted list, though, there's really not that many characters that can help you guys out. Like, that's just... It's not good, Bandai. It's like, look at... You got a 1.1 times booster who can remove it by 5 turns, but they only have 3 turns on themselves. So, unless you're bringing someone else that can remove that, like if you got Big Mom and then, like, the sweet commanders, you could use that support as well. But otherwise, like, you kind of, like, you literally up ship creek without a paddle when it comes to that one. Like, it's just... It's not a fun time. 5 turns of special bind, it's just... Yowza. Otherwise, the bind will go down to 2 turns. So if you could find a way, maybe you could, if you've got, like, a Luffy on the team, you could find a support that removes bind, like Rayleigh, or you could use someone like Corazon, or you could use someone like the Straw Hats. They could work quite well. But if you do have this king, he's just going to help you out significantly to get around the... what's it called? The special bind. And then you can use someone like Jack to remove the bind. I'll be using Luffy on this particular team. He's going to remove it by 3 turns, and he's going to be the color affinity booster, which is really, really good. But other units that you guys could possibly bring to get around the bind would look a little bit something like, you could bring, like I said, Jack. You could even use Nami and Shinobu. They will remove by 2 turns, and they're a 1.35 times booster. Then you've got something like the Colosseum Okiku. You've got Clash Lucci, and you've got the Pirate Rumble Usopp that could work well. And if you're very desperate, you've also got Orochi and Law. They can also work fairly well. Next, we got get around the Threshold. This is where we're using the Otama unit. She's got color affinity as well. She's also a color affinity booster for you guys if you don't have that Luffy. She's very, very good to get around the Threshold. She's a free-to-play unit, so hopefully you guys farmed her up. And then finally, I've got Dobon on this particular team once again, as he can remove the Chain Lock. Now, getting around Chain Lock is a lot harder than getting around Chain Coefficient Reduction. So, if you have a look at the boosted list, you've only got one option, and hopefully you guys summoned on Anniversary, because it's this BIGG. This BIGG is the only other option in terms of the rate boosted characters. Otherwise, you're going to have to bring someone that's not rate boosted, unfortunately, to get around the Chain Lock, or you could bring like someone that gives you like a 3-turn Chain Lock and carry that into the next stage. But looking at the recommended list, the only real unit that you guys have is this Dophian Treble. Other than that, it's just the boosted list for free-to-play players isn't overly amazing. So there you guys go. There are my treasure map teams. Hopefully they helped you guys out in some way. Like I said, they are very pay-to-play this time. There's not a very good boosted list. But hopefully I gave you guys a good understanding of what you guys can replace with if you are missing some units. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. And if you did, make sure to go down there and belt the like button for me. If you're new to the channel too, consider hitting that big red subscribe button too. But guys, wherever you are in this beautiful world, make sure to enjoy the rest of your day. As always, I thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Lates!